Part 7. We're still in the first trial stage. Let's see if I can remember what we're doing. Two sides of the same coin. We're interrogating these two jokers here. So let's see, what do we know? We know she tricked him into thinking they were going eastward, and actually they were going west. And they were going there to steal the outcast's weapon. We know that he can walk through walls, and that's how they escaped, or that's how he escaped. She escaped the teleport. That's how they went outside. And their testimony still doesn't match the previous account of the case for several reasons. One, let me see if I can. She said that the victim wasn't running at the boy. I forget what it was. Okay. Yeah. So I guess we'll see. We'll see whether it's still. I suppose it started when I saw a figure standing in the middle of the place. They got. Reload. Here we go. Come on. Sorry, technical difficulties. I suppose it started when I saw a figure standing in the middle of the place. They got decapitated. I panicked. I must have dropped the wine bottle. There was a shattering noise, and then a gunshot. That was too much. I ran away while telling this porter to call the police. Oh yeah, they said that the gunshot came after the killing. But the previous defendant's testimony said that the gunshot came before the killing. And he said the guy ran at him, but these guys are saying he didn't. That was too much. I ran away while telling Miss Porter to call the police. Guess now it's time for my side of the story, huh? I heard Maxwell scream and drop his bottle too. When I took a closer look, I saw someone who looked like the victim rush at the defendant. And Maxwell seemed to have run off. Quick when it counts. I told you I easily get scared. But I did what he told me to do and went to call the police after a little crime scene visit. It still seemed like the same story. Finally, there's something for me to combine again. I believe the issue has already become much clearer, although the previous issues prevail. The cross-examination will show if I'm on the right track. I just have to combine the right part and then show it. Wait, actually, since there's two different accounts, maybe I can even show a contradiction between them. That's it. I'll combine two statements from each, and then combine the combined statements. Amazing. This is like a wonderful idea. But wait, I can't let you do that, Linus. You should know your own limit. You can only combine one thing. Don't get cocky. You're not ready for the advanced techniques. Well, I feel like I need to do some combinations to find a clear contradiction. Unless you know any better techniques I'm ready for. You shouldn't have asked. There are things that are better left untouched. However, I will tell you, treat this knowledge with care. It has led many men to ruin. In the wrong hands, it is extremely dangerous. What could possibly be so risky? Well, unless you intend to fake a kidnapping to stall out the case. Good, you understood what lawyers have to go through sometimes. At that point, you're just a criminal. Yeah, you need a criminal lawyer, okay? Silence, rookie. This isn't about fake kidnapping. You should wish it's just that. Well, you'll know soon enough. I shall tell you about the technique from hell. I'm waiting. So this is the courtroom. I hope she'll get to the point soon. But one piece of evidence isn't enough to prove a point. You just have to use multiple pieces simultaneously. That's it? Do you not understand the implications of this? Doesn't really sound like some great forbidden technique. Oh, he has no idea. Maybe it's for the best. You could also try presenting that evidence and multiple statements at the same time. What kind of arbitrary argument could ever require me to do that? Wouldn't it be better to just go step by step? Methodically working myself through the pieces required? Please, that wouldn't be as awesome. That would be easy. Okay, I'll just forget all of this. Let's just go with my idea after. You dare to defy the teachings? Doesn't matter, you can't do it. Combining more than one thing won't work. Guess I'll just do it metaphorically. I mean, it's not really anything solid anyway. We have their statements. You can deduce and remember the implication of their combined meaning. Guess that doesn't sound too bad. If you pass this test, you'll officially achieve a new power level. How do you intend to name your new special move, champ? Needs a name? Of course it does. Don't scientists name their inventions too? True enough, I suppose. If you want a suggestion, I'd call it the super combination. That doesn't sound particularly creative. Let's see, I'm trying to combine something in both of their testimonies, then have them clash against each other. I got it. I'll call this cross combination. Not bad. I'll accept it. 7.8 out of 10. Well, we'll see how that works out. Is the defense ready to start the cross-examination or not? Apologies, I got distracted for a second. It's time to see if these two testimonies are really consistent with each other. This might lead to even more problems rather than resolve anything. Well, I'll think about the meaning of it later. I should really get started now. Standing in the middle of the place before they got decapitated. Drop the wine bottle after seeing the figure get decapitated. Shattering as there was a gunshot. Dropped the bottle, I witnessed what looked like the defendant committing the crime. Oh, well that sounds like a contradiction. Dropped the wine bottle after seeing the figure get decapitated. Contradictory order. We're just not getting anywhere with the two of you. What you just said contradicts one basic assumption in this case. Please explain, Mr. Sky. Of course, Your Honor. Basically, it might seem like they should be testifying about the same thing, but they actually just implied this was not quite the case. Mr. Maxwell, you said you dropped the bottle and caused a commotion in response to the crime. Miss Porter, you said you witnessed the crime in response to the bottle breaking. We know that the decapitation was swift. It would have only taken an instant. The if you only saw the crime after Mr. Maxwell dropped the bottle, then how did he see it before that? There's a contradiction in timing and cause and effect here. What in the world? I wonder if it has to do with... Did he get sent back in time or something? Like, he saw the crime and then got sent back in time and then dropped the bottle? Like, if it was redirected onto him? 'Cause this guy goes back in time. That is inconceivable! That is inconceivable. Well, yes, it would be. Mr. Maxwell witnessed the crime, dropped the bottle, and then Miss Porter witnessed the crime. This line of events is obviously flawed given our assumptions. There is only one way for this to still make sense. Mr. Maxwell witnessed a crime, caused a commotion, and ran away. Then Miss Porter took a look and witnessed another crime. Both of them must have witnessed completely different events. How is that any sort of plausible explanation? First of all, weren't their witnesses close together most of the time? True, it's a pretty close time frame. But if you look at the diagram, you'll see that there was a corner just where they were coming from. Also, there could have been another crime over on the right. If Miss Porter was behind that corner, she would not have been able to see the crime scene immediately. Well, was I still behind the corner? I was trailing behind a little, so yes, not bad. In other words, there were at least a few seconds before she could have seen something herself. That does not make it any less absurd. Why would there be two decapitations taking place in such rapid succession? Well, one wasn't technically a decapitation, which happens to be the one Miss Porter saw. Yeah, that's right, she said he was cut in half. She also happens to be the only one who actually said she saw the defendant. The curious thing about Mr. Maxwell's statements is that he did not mention seeing the defendant once. In other words, she is our only eyewitness to the actual crime.
Objection!
I'm certain you realize your explanation has a lot of holes. But I think the obvious question needs to be asked first. If Mr. Maxwell didn't actually witness our crime, then what in the world did he witness? That's the question, isn't it? Whatever Mr. Maxwell witnessed is essential to the case. Miss Porter saw the defendant kill the victim. However, she saw him cut through the torso region. Mr. Maxwell, on the other hand, clearly used the word decapitation. It's likely the person Mr. Maxwell saw dying was the real Mr. Ronas. Whoever Miss Porter saw must have been a fake victim. What? Mr. Maxwell, you've been awfully vague about the whole event. The victim got decapitated is barely even a summary. My apologies. In fact, whenever it came to describing the killer, you just didn't say anything. Well, just what did you really see that night? I want the full story, and I want it from you. Are you hiding anything about what you saw from us? Say it. Tell us the truth. Ah! So it's come to this after all. I just wanted to forget. Just wanted to think it's a dream. Because in fact, it's been haunting me. Miss Porter made me confident I must have been mistaken. Even the police seem to have the case under control. But I suppose I couldn't run from it. Not from them. It is time for the truth, then. My testimony won't be so plain after all. My apologies in advance. Everyone who is faint of heart should leave the room now. Just what did you see? He sure likes his build-up. Very well. I won't no longer conceal it from you, as horrifying as this truth may be. Everything I've revealed so far has naturally been accurate. I saw a figure in the middle of the place. He definitely resembled the victim from what I could tell. However, I did not see anyone approach that silhouette. Not anyone visible, at least. And I am more certain that I might have made it sound before. There was nobody else. The victim was just standing there, seemingly frozen in place. Until he started moving in a direction. That direction was up. Slowly started floating into the air, almost as high as the top of the buildings. Then, when he came to a halt, his head was cut off cleanly, just like that, with seemingly no cause. It fell down somewhere to the left, though his body was flung rightwards. I didn't want to believe it, but it's the truth. The victim flew into the air and got decapitated, all by himself. The vampire. It must have been the vampire's magic. In my many years as a prosecutor, I have never heard such an inconceivably ridiculous story. I can think of no possible explanation for these events. There is something else I should mention. While running away, I think I saw them. A pale figure, blood dripping from their mouth. As if they just... another person's blood. What? I wanted to believe it was just an illusion, me being scared by what I had just witnessed, but I remember it clearly. I saw such a figure. Those vicious eyes. How is this... Mr. Justice, is it your implication that everything in a witness's statement is truthful? I do not want to believe it, if it is. Are you certain of that? Truthful melody is infallible. He is telling the truth. What? That story is true? The vampire is real, dark, magic? No way. The prosecutor must be lying. The spell must be broken. There's already magic. Order. There's no reason for concern. Whether there is such a thing as a vampire or not, reaching us here in my safe haven is impossible. Regardless, it is likely there has merely been a mistake. There is no mistake. We've seen how safe we really are in Who says something like that will happen again? At any rate, this testimony is not even completely something at home. But what's this? Wasn't it clearly the vampire's magic? I do not see any other explanation. I really saw them. A pale figure that had just sucked blood. But if you want further proof, I'm afraid I have them. There's more. I've already received a warning. A warning from the vampire himself. What's this now? Did he send you a letter? Oh, did he call you? I bet he did. No. I'm afraid it's much more unsettling than that. Please, take a look at this. Are those white ones on your neck? As you can see, he has already taken my blood. I do not even recall when I was drinking. Objection! You hate me, Mr. Maxwell. There is nothing to do. Very late. You did really get some gracious now. As a man of science, I refuse to push for a theory like this. As a man of science, I refuse to push for a theory like that. Even if I won the case for a theory like this, it's not worth it. You're actually buying the story. I know what I saw. It's all true. Stop lying. You're possibly fine without being alive. He can't have genuinely seen this. This can't be happening. Now let's not panic just because there's no apparent explanation. I agree with what the prosecution said a moment ago. There's another explanation. There's no need for a vampire. You have a different explanation, Mr. Sky? I don't know, Your Honor. However, I know that the possibility still exists. There is a human for whom this might have still been possible. Finally, I don't think that person will be able to keep their secret any longer now. They got away easy last time, but now there's a good reason to be thorough. There's something very important we need to verify with someone right now. Before we truly know if this person was honest with us, we cannot conclude this was a vampire. Yeah, this person, we don't really know their spell. Could the witness have had some sort of spell that tears people in half or whatever? Remember this witness from before? Remember how I thought it was likely he was lying about his spell as well? Yeah, that's right, he carries heavy objects. levitates something. Well, if the spell was something else, it might just have been possible to pull this off. There's no need for vampire. A human with the right spell might be able to pull it off too. I'm afraid this is supposed to be impossible. Mr. Destry confirmed with no trace of the spell used in Mr. Rona's body. We assume the victim Mr. Maxwell saw was our victim. It could not have been done with the spell. The spell makes the person fly and then decapitate them. Definitely was a trick. I would consider that a reason for something. Well, if you're fine with a vampire, you don't have to. However, I suppose you should have. You need to cover all the possibilities. The proposition shall be accepted by us, then. A previous witness is to be led back to the stand again. Guards, the doors are to be shut. Exit shall not be allowed to anybody for the moment. This story shall be remaining inside this hall until it has been cleared up by us. I guess adding this fire to the rumors might just make them blow up. Now we just have to hope Talia doesn't just teleport away. I'm surprised, you know. 'Cause even I didn't think you'd be so sloppy to call me back when I was done. Well, you saw what happened. There's something we need to know for sure. Oh yeah? You should pay more attention. I know my rights. Can't force me to spill the beans on my spell. Did you forget? 'Cause then I think you're not really cut out for this job. Well, you do realize the situation, don't you? It might be very important to know what you did. If you think I used my spell at night, you're wrong. I'd still like to know just what it is. And I told you, why not just believe? I didn't use my spell that night. What's the point, man? Truth. If you don't tell us whether that's all there is to your spell, you'll look mighty suspicious. That's my problem then, ain't it? Already said it wasn't me. But of course you try to blame it on me. Same old. Nah, I won't talk. Can't make me. If you do, you admit you treat people unfairly. Mr. Sky, it is my fear he is right. While a matter of great concern, there is no reason for a thought that this is directly linked to Mr. Cat's spell. A forcing of any additional information about his spell with merely this is not permissible. I see, Your Honor. Well, that's fine. I already have enough to figure it out anyway. Yeah, what? Your spell. I know what it is and why you refuse to tell us. You're bluffing. Rookie, that bluff is way too obvious. Even you think I am? All lawyers are. Well, good thing I'm not a lawyer. Well, I'll just lay it out for you then. My deduction began with the most obvious clue about your spell. You stated it on record, so that information has to be correct. You can freeze the water at different temperatures. This gives us a pretty decent idea of what your spell is truly about. I do, of course, mean its power, presumably. You didn't tell us the name. What you said about the spell of power should be a good indication. Again. Are you certain? What the witness said was almost identical to what Mr. Maxwell said. Well, I do not see how one could conclude something specifically about his spell from that. True, but in other words, this won't help us determine the difference in any way. Okay, fine, that wasn't what I really meant to get at anyway. Now for my real deduction. My deduction began with the most obvious clue about his spell. Unlimited parting. That sounds like it could be used to decapitate someone. Its name. The name of your spell is Unlimited Parting. You were willing to share that much. But this is not really matched with your description of what the spell does. The first word, unlimited, suggests there's no limit to an amount of something. The second one, parting, suggests the separation of something. You know for a fact that you can freeze water in a glass somehow, provided you touch it. How do you make it freeze using some sort of parting, a separation? Simple. You just have to separate two things here to get frozen water. How do you separate two things together? Frozen. You separate the heat from the water? The simplest possible way to freeze water is to cool it. In other words, to reduce its heat. If you have the power to separate the things, maybe you can split the heat from the water. Well, that's very vague. It'd be quite the similar trick to the one Mr. Maxwell pulled. He made it so the heat could only leave. But we can dig deeper. Why exactly do you have to touch the glass? It's possible the limit is similar to Mr. Maxwell's. Let's not jump to conclusions. Your attitude yesterday gave me an interesting clue here. You got a problem with my attitude? I was tired yesterday, you know? Well, you were fairly cooperative until we mentioned a certain name. That name made you go very defensive until you just closed the door on us. You probably know which name I mean, at least. Oh yeah, when they were talking about Jack. When they were killing... someone used his power to kill them. Jack. Yes, that was it. When I mentioned the name of the infamous criminal, he had a curious reaction. I'm sick of hearing that name. Can you guys stop comparing everything to him? Sounded like you've had some previous experience with people mentioning that name to you. Why would that be? It's none of your goddamn business. Maybe not, but I have a hypothesis. For some reason, you're afraid of being compared to him. Has that happened before? You're making a lot of guesses. Jack was notorious for being able to kill people just by looking at them. What if your spell can, in theory, do something similar? That would definitely lead to some judgment and people being afraid of you. Even if you hadn't done anything, the fact that you could. You're saying Mr. Cash has a similar ability to that mass murderer. Well, assuming he can split things, he could probably split a human. Probably even on sight, like Jack. You refuse to tell us your spell so far. Even with all that, wouldn't it be the best to share to avoid suspicion? And again, with this spell, you should probably be worried. Because maybe what happens in Mr. Maxwell's story just now is exactly something you could do. You're making a lot of assumptions here. Cut it out already. Well, if it's anything like Jack's spell, at least it seems like you have more control over it. Otherwise, we'd all drop dead right now. Valid, although I will note that you would be perfectly safe within the palace regardless. Right, I've heard about that. There's someone that can prevent someone to die unnaturally working with GF. I'm guessing the palace is permanently in their area of influence. Your right guardian wouldn't allow strangers near him otherwise for safety reasons. Anyway, to get back on the point, you have some choice of what you use your spell on. Except not quite, there still seems to be a limit. After all, you can only freeze the glass of water if you touch it. So what could explain why you have to touch the glass, but could still split humans on view? Oh, you can't see heat. Makes sense. You can't see heat, so just looking at it doesn't really work. Well, it's not quite true. Normally, spells can affect things that you know are there, even if you can't see them. You can probably combine heat with something you can spell. It spells relate to you when you have to. It might not be so much about seeing or touching, but perceiving the thing you're entering. You might just need to perceive the objects you want to split up in some way. By closing in on the restriction? You know nothing. It's nonsense. Still not enough? Or if there's more? Wait, is that a lie, Mr. Orpheus? Next, your job. You're a delivery man, if I recall correctly. See, that's what I was wondering, if you had a spell that helps with that. You said you could even transport a piano with ease. It struck me as weird how a single man could transport such a heavy object without help. It's not like we saw any equipment in front of your house. And your spell should not give you superhuman strength. However, there's still a way you can deliver such heavy objects. You just used your spell to turn it into lots of tiny objects and then carried those. Are you serious? Wouldn't the customers complain if you destroyed... Wait, sorry. Are you serious? Wouldn't the customers complain if you destroyed the piano? You're right, that's no good. Then it struck me, what if his spell isn't a permanent spell? There's something quite similar with my spell. I can decide to undo the combination. Well, maybe this witness can choose to undo the separation. In other words, his spell might just be the exact opposite of my spell. He can split things, but he can also choose to undo the split. And that's my answer. That's what your spell can really do. Given the circumstantial evidence, I'm confident I'm at least close. You got that much just from a couple things like that? Well, combination happens to be my specialty. Being all smug about it, too. Fine, you're probably going to go with this anyway. Come on, connect. You win. You more or less figured me out there. That's exactly how my spell really works. I can cut anything I can perceive in two, and also undo it if I want to. Should be obvious why I didn't want to share it with you with this kind of crime. You would not have had anything to fear. After all, everything you have said so far has been truthful. Besides, the facts still hold. The lead detective found no traces of spell use on the body. Are you satisfied now, Mr. Sky? Yes. Wait, does it work on spell traces? But this did not really assist us at all, now did it? Knowing the witness's spell explains nothing about Mr. Maxwell's absurd account. Well, there was another reason I wanted this witness back on the stand. I think he should give us another testimony. What are you doing? I thought I was done here. You think this is funny? Interesting. What do you think this witness could help us with? Well, I don't know if he can, but he was the one that got the closest to the actual scene. If there was anything there, it would help explain why Mr. Maxwell saw a flying man. Mr. Cat or the defendant might have seen it. Okay, listen, there isn't. Are you sure? I think I said listen. There's nothing, okay? Unlike some other people, I wanted to get this over with quickly. So unlike those guys, I didn't leave out half the stuff I saw. Got it? Okay, but given the new context after this revelation, maybe something that seemed unimportant. You just can't actually just take my word for it, can you? There's nothing I could add. You really just need to accept that. Ah, but you followed these two people to see what they're up to, no? Now that we know your spell, at least it makes sense that you weren't really too afraid to look, or were you? Are you saying that despite that, you didn't notice anything? Surely you didn't just run away immediately. I see what you're trying to pull here. Well, you're still wrong one. But fine, if you really want your pointless testimony, you can have it. Looks like it worked anyway. Mr. Sky, I'm hoping you're putting forth your best effort towards a resolution of this. If this testimony will be proven to be a waste of time, the matter shall be left to the authorities. You better not be trying to cover this whole thing up, you hear me? I wouldn't be surprised if that kid turned out to be accomplice of some vampire guy. That was some bloody mess I saw. It is acknowledged what is possible of acknowledgement. Not good. Looks like things might still get tricky if I don't find anything new here. Excellent. The cards have finally been dealt. Yeah, I'm sure you're just enjoying this development. Of course. I, for one, welcome our new vampire overlords. Damn, guess I can no longer count on your support then. No worries, I'll still provide you with high-quality hint coins. Okay, Luke. I shall assist both sides. My motives are complex. They're really not, even if you say it. Especially if you have to say it. This game is so long. Look, this is way too threatening for me to stick around and take a good look. As soon as I got in and glanced at the kid, I bailed out of there the way I came. On my way out of there, I noticed absolutely nothing fishy either. And that's it, nothing to add. You happy now? Well, that was shorter than I hoped. Just what I've been saying. That's what you get for not listening to me, man. Well, I suppose the defense may go ahead and cross-examine the witness. If nothing of significance is found, we will proceed to look into this on our own after the verdict. So I just need to find something new? Seems reasonable enough. How do I find something in this? Well, I should just try to dig a little deeper, I guess. Guess we just press him on everything again. What are you doing? What just happened? You know, I really just want to get this over with and get back to the real problems. So you're messing with my testimony. I'd appreciate it if you didn't do that. He broke up the statement I combined. Oh, is he like some sort of anti-magic? And that would explain... That might explain why there was no... spell traces, if he can, like, erase magic or something. Well, guess I can't rely on my special technique here. He'll just counter it with his spell. Oh, right. Okay, no. It's just because he can separate it. Never mind. No need to give up, though. Just have to do it the old-fashioned way. My great-grandma used to say that history is an illusion. On a social level, those with power can very much determine it entirely. On a hashtag biological level, it has no more than the memories you can access in your brain, origin unknown. On a psychological level, it is merely an invention of transient minds, meant to give the comforting illusion of potential immortality. So is any of this meant to amount to something regarding the testimony? It's up to you to figure that out, champ. That's how cryptic hints work. It's not how cryptic hints work. Got anything practical to say? Well, if you want to be like that, here's my professional assessment. You got barely a clue about the dealings here. Better to keep pressing for a bit. Once you get them to spill the beans, go for the kill. Press some more. Did I mention you should keep pressing hashtag before you attack? Yes, thanks for this absolutely useful hint. I'm guessing you should focus on trying to figure out the details about that vampire, the magic murder. Agreed, Ray. If you can't make progress via the low, let it shut down everything. Well, obviously I need to try and make sense of these new findings. If I don't, they'll just finish the case with the confession they have. And then panic about this vampire side. Okay, so we press him. Felt threatening? How so? Just got a mighty bad feeling all of a sudden. Well, this isn't really telling us. Are you blaming me? You dragged me back here even though I said everything already. Look, this ain't getting us nowhere. If you think I can give input on something else, you gotta ask me straight. Clear-cut question, clear-cut answer. The world ain't always so complicated. Point, I guess I'll ask. What exactly am I supposed to ask you? All he said here is that he got a mighty bad feeling all of a sudden, so I guess I could ask him. I guess he already didn't tell us why, so I'll ask him, and we know where, so I'll ask him when. When did this happen? I think I know the time? Let me think, It's right after I heard the gunshot. But that would be before you witnessed anything, no? So what? What are you trying to say? Well, you still went to take a look and chase the defendant into the house. So it couldn't have been that bad of a feeling. And if anything, I'd expected you to have a stronger reaction to it. Seeing the defendant covered in blood. Yet apparently the gunshot left a bigger impression. That's all nice and interesting. But I can't help you with that. I don't know why it did. Please add that statement to your testimony. Oh, there we go. Making everything harder again. Fine. We'll have to be done someday. But did he fall into the building? You only got a good look after you followed him into the house, right? Yeah, but I only really got to the doorstep. So don't ask me about what else was in the house. Got no idea. Considering the lights were on, you might have seen something. Nah, just the kid dropping the weapon, really. But now that you mention it, I think there was some guy in a chair. I didn't really focus on that. If there was another guy, I don't think he was alive. You are correct. What you saw was a dead corpse. Well, I was really just focused on that bloody kid, so I can't tell you more about that. So nothing else then? Nope. Didn't waste more time than needed there. As soon as I saw the face, I figured it was time to get the hell out of there. Nothing fishy, huh?
Hold it!
You got out the same way you came then? Of course. Not like I got a map for those damn ruins. I didn't want to risk getting lost, so I went back the same way. Mr. Maxwell, why are you stepping forward? My apologies. I did not mean to interrupt, however. I just thought something was strange about what the witness said. And the implication of it might be able to put us all at some ease after all. What did you find strange? Well, it's like this. I thought it over looking at the diagram, and think if Mr. Cat ran back the way he came, he would have gone past that corner in the upper left. Sure, but where's the strange part? Well, you probably remember what I said I saw after running away from the crime scene. That unsettling creature I saw in the night, I mean the vampire. Pretty sure we all remember that. Well, I'm pretty sure I saw him standing right at that corner. Wait, I thought you were looking at it from the south side. How would you see that? Did you see it like after running away? Through the wall? Nobody dropped the ball in response to this. What? So if you didn't run into it, I must have probably been mistaken after all, right? Probably. Could you add this to the testimony, Mr. Maxwell? Hey, what? Isn't this supposed to be my testimony? It's currently paramount that we make sense of what Mr. Maxwell saw. This is the most efficient way to keep this new piece of information on. What the fuck? It won't send? Are you Sorry. My phone's being stupid. My humblest apologies, Mr. Cat. A plain man like me did not intend to interfere, but... Well, it's probably faster than having to sit through one of your testimonies after again. Seriously, what was with the long-winded introduction in that one, man? Apologies if my plainness has caused you boredom. Just add your statement already. Naturally, then if I may. Okay, look. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties right now. I'll have to close this one off early. Thanks for watching. I'll get back to it as soon as I can.